Hello everyone, I'm Trung with VTV International. This is the English Bulletin, VTV News, coming to you live from Hanoi. First, let's get you up to date with the headlines. South Korean officials visit to Vietnam boosts ODA cooperation between the two countries. And the construction of a school compound kick-started on Con Cỏ Island. On to the first update of the hour. The inauguration ceremony of Vĩnh Thịnh Bridge, Vietnam's longest cross-river bridge, took place on Sunday in Vĩnh Phúc province. Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng attended the event. The four-lane bridge stretches 5.5 kilometers across the Red River, linking Hanoi's outlying town of Sơn Tây with Vĩnh Tường district in Vĩnh Phúc province. The $137 million project included $100 million sourced from the South Korea's Official Development Assistance, or ODA. Speaking at the ceremony, Prime Minister Dũng thanked the government and people of South Korea for supporting the project, adding that Vietnam would continue to closely manage and effectively utilize Korean ODA. On the sidelines of the inauguration ceremony for Vĩnh Thịnh Bridge, Deputy Prime Minister Hoàng Trung Hải met with Chu Quyên-hu, South Korea's Deputy Minister of Strategy and Finance. Deputy Prime Minister Hai once again expressed his thanks to the Korean government in its ODA support for Vietnam. He stressed the positive developments in the strategic partnership between Vietnam and South Korea, particularly in IT, education, culture, tourism, labor, and defense. Deputy Prime Minister Hai highlighted Vietnam's promise to fully support Korean enterprises investing in Vietnam. Deputy Minister Hu noted the Vĩnh Thịnh Bridge was one of the biggest foreign projects that South Korea has supported. He expressed the hope that the cooperative ties between the two countries would continue to be strengthened. Currently, South Korea is Vietnam's second largest ODA donor. Vietnam is a market with high potential for investing. This is the assessment concluded from the Midterm Vietnam Business Forum, VBF, which took place on Thursday in Hanoi. Despite the incident in Bình Dương in May, Vietnam still shows that a one-time incident cannot affect Vietnam's investing potentiality.
The forum saw the participation of Vietnamese Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng. Strength and weaknesses of Vietnam's market was reviewed through lenses of foreign investors, objective, direct, and candid.
According to a report of Japan External Trade Organizations, 70% of Japanese enterprises invested in Vietnam in 2013, and they plan to expand businesses in 2014. This is a high percentage compared to other countries.
Many foreign institutional investors suggested solution following the incident in May. Vietnam's Minister of Planning and Investment Bùi Quang Vinh announced that 99% of enterprises have resumed operation.
This was an unfortunate incident, the first of its kind, so it's not easy to deal with. We want to stabilize the market as soon as possible and ensure safety for foreign enterprises. After a short time, 99% of enterprises have resumed operation. It can be said that a breakthrough in Vietnam's institutional reform is taking place. That is the outcome of combination of government's effort and international integration.
With its efforts in restructuring the economy and opportunities from trade agreement in the coming time, investment and business in Vietnam are open to foreign enterprises.
The ASEAN exchanges have introduced an expanded FTSE ASEAN Index series, which will include Vietnamese stocks for the first time. This is being done in a bid to provide a comprehensive suite of indices that cover the growing ASEAN equity market. Vietnam's market will join the 5 markets of Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and the Philippines. The new FTSE ASEAN Index Series benchmark will also represent up to 95% of the region's market capitalization. ASEAN exchanges said the creation of broader benchmark indices, meaningful sector indices, and new ASEAN-centric products would generate more ASEAN-based opportunities for investors and increase liquidity flows between exchanges. The three new tradable ASEAN indices are the FTSE ASEAN All-Share Index, the FTSE ASEAN Stars Index, and the FTSE ASEAN All-Share Ex-Developed Index. All the indices are free-float adjusted and calculated in accordance with the Industry Classification Benchmark, or ICB.
Exotic Vietnam is an intriguing blend of many charms. This land is where all manner of stunning landscapes await like a visual feast, rivaled only by the beauty of its people and their abundantly rich tradition and culture. Here is where you can relive the past in richest color or live it up in the bright lights of the big city. With so much more to offer, Vietnam is simply unforgettable.
And welcome back to VTV News, live from Hanoi. Since May 1st, when China illegally deployed its oil rig Haiyang Shuyou 981 in Vietnam's exclusive economic zone and continental shelf, the country has kept a large number of armed forces in the area as a protective buffer. Although the Vietnamese and international media have both reported the presence of China's Coast Guard, marine surveillance units, military airplanes, and army ships, China has consistently denied any acts of aggression or threats to use armed forces against Vietnam's executive forces. More to follow.
This is the Chinese Yongcheng Missile Frigate, number 571. It is considered the most modern frigate of the People's Liberation Army Navy, with a length of 134 meters and a crew of 165. Furthermore, around the Haiyang Shuyou 981 oil rig, many other battleships are also operating. On May the 17th, the Vietnam Coast Guard was intimidated by two Chinese vessels with their weapons ready. This is a Chinese anti-submarine patrol ship coded 789, and this is a fast attack missile crafted coded 755. All of them are in ready-to-fight mode. Meanwhile, the Chinese ambassador to the United States, in an interview with CNN on May the 20th, said that China only had civilian ships and government ships in the area. The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Hung Lei also denied that China dispatched armed ships to Vietnam's water during a press conference on June the 4th. These lies were spread across the world's media in recent weeks. However, the footage taken from Vietnam's waters, where the Haiyang Shuyou 981 oil rig is illegally installed, has shown the incontrovertible truth.
China's dispatch of military ships and reconnaissance aircraft shows their careful preparations for what's happening in the East Sea. Their intention may not only include the illegal deployment of its oil rig on Vietnam's waters. Otherwise, this move shows their weakness in this situation.
Although China has always denied the use of modern weapons, many people around the world saw their provocation actions in Vietnam's waters when they threatened the Vietnamese Coast Guard. This violates the basic regulation of the Charter of the United Nations and Statute of the International Court of Justice.
Article 4 of Chapter 2 in the Charter of the United Nations and Statute of the International Court of Justice stipulates that all nations must respect each other, live peacefully, and must not use or threaten to use army forces. Therefore, China's actions in Vietnam's waters during the past months have violated this article.
With patent lies and provocation actions in Vietnam's waters, China is losing its prestige and its reputation as a respected nation of the world.
Naval forces of Vietnam garrisoned on the southwest K Island and the Philippines on the northeast K Island met for an exchange on Sunday. Each country sent 40 representatives to the event organized on Song Tu Tây Island, part of Vietnam's Spratly archipelago. The Filipino delegation was led by Captain Carlito Barizo, Deputy Commander of the Naval Forces under the Philippine Navy, while Senior Captain Lê Xuân Thuy, Deputy Commander of the Naval Zone 4, headed the Vietnamese delegation. During the exchange, both sides shared information on search and rescue work, maritime security, and natural disaster warning, and discussed the agenda for the next exchange on the Philippines' Northeast K Island. The sailors also hosted art performances and played football, volleyball, and tug of war. In other news, as part of the Vietnam Seas and Islands Week, the Ministry of Education and Training kickstarted the construction of a kindergarten and a primary school compound on the island district of Con Co, off the coast of Quảng Trị Central Province on Sunday. More details to follow.
Hoa Phong Ba, the island's main kindergarten, witnessed nearly complete destruction after a typhoon in late 2013. Residents hope that this new school compound will ensure education for the island's children. Many kids here on the island have had to go to the mainland to study. With this new school, that won't be the case anymore, and they'll be closer to home. The Ministry of Education and Training is opening this new kindergarten and primary school project in collaboration with the People's Committees of Quảng Trị Province and Con Co District.
To ensure a sustainable life for the residents on our nation's islands, there is a need to ensure a quality education for their children, and that is why we have decided to invest in this construction project.
With an investment of over $235,000, the new Hoa Phong Ba school looks to opening its doors this September to welcome the new school year, with plans to include classrooms for junior high students as well in the near future.
Now, while Hanoi's city streets are forever fast-paced and bustling, family life in the city flows peacefully alongside it. This contrast between the capital's inner and outer life has been reflected vividly in an art exhibition themed Life Up and Down, currently on show at L'Espace Hanoi. The exhibition, which opened last week, shows images of Vietnam through the eyes of foreigners and overseas Vietnamese.
The series of 15 artworks, which combine photos with paintings and poetry, highlighting the contrast between the hectic and serene in Vietnamese people's lives today. The collaborative pieces that make up this exhibit were composed by the artists over the past 8 months. Marie Cecile drew the outer scenes. Eric Huyn captured the serenity, and Ton That Thanh Vân was responsible for the poems describing the pictures.
As an overseas Vietnamese, I can see things about life here that Hanoi locals may not. These may be habits that you no longer notice because you are so used to them. Through this exhibition, I want to emphasize the serenity found in the Vietnamese soul.
I have been living in Vietnam for 22 years, and I love it. My plan is to stay for many, many more years, as long as I can. Why I love it? I love Vietnam because of the Vietnamese people, basically. Outside is very busy. When you get inside to a home, change. Would you like to have a cup of tea? Would you like to have a bowl of rice with me? Would you like phở bò, phở gà? Wonderful, wonderful.
Each work is written in black ink on gió paper, the traditional drawing materials of Vietnamese art. For Marie Cecile, her love for Vietnamese culture makes her choose these materials. Since the age of 10, I've spent a lot of time visiting Vietnamese areas in France. Vietnamese culture is a deep part of who I am, and my closest friend is Vietnamese, so I'm very happy to see my works about Vietnam on display. For Eric Huyn, an overseas Vietnamese born in France, memories of his homeland paved the way for his participation in this exhibition. He captured Hanoi's life in photos while walking through the streets. By teaching at Vietnamese University of Fine Arts, he hopes to further contribute to the artistic development of the country.
I have so many plans. I want to contribute more to the country's art. Time flies so fast when I'm in Vietnam.
Distinctive architecture, people living in the city. These images convey the old but modern city of Hanoi. The exhibition will run until June the 30th.
And up next, let's take a quick look at today's updated weather forecast. This is the end of VTV News for this hour. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now from Hanoi.